How you guys doing? All right, thank you guys so much for having me all the way from Orange Beach, Alabama. How many of you have ever been to or ever even heard of Orange Beach? Wow. That's awesome. Well, it's my pleasure to be here with you today.
You work for
For those of you who don't know me, what's that?
You work for Patrick?
Yes, sir. For those of you who don't know me, let me give you a glimpse of my 2017 so far. Sales-wise, I'm at 107 closings, 37 million, single agent. On top of that, though, this year I've written 2 books. I started the YouTube series, the Daily Grind, and the Ask Ricky Live on Facebook. But I just got back from the Bahamas getting married, as Steve just said, Wednesday. So we went down there to Atlantis. And all our friends and family were down there. We had a blast. Me and her went to a beach house afterwards for about a week, so it was a lot of fun. So I got back Wednesday. Since Wednesday, I've taken 8 listings, put 4 properties under contract. Saturday, I went back to surgeon. Sunday, I showed property. Yesterday, I jumped on a plane to come see you guys, and I'm fired up. So I stay very motivated. I'm always working 24/7. People think I never sleep. But the question I have for you guys is, I want you to ask yourself, why are you here? And really think about why you're here. I think there's a lot of reasons, different reasons why people take time out of their work week to come to something like this. But, you know, it's obviously to be more successful, to sell more properties, make more money, help your friends and family. You know, when you're successful, everyone around you is successful. Everybody wants you to succeed. So that's why you're trying so hard to make a living and help others around you. But I'm going to tell you why 90% of realtors do not make it in this business. Mindset. We're killing ourselves by the way we think. The things that we, you know, the way we perceive certain situations and just the way that we think about how things should be, it's really holding us back. So the most important thing I want you to think about when you think about mindset is that everything in real estate, everything is a win-win. When you win, you win. And also, when you lose, there is a way to look at your losses as wins. So I want to hear anybody who has a loss that they've experienced recently that they feel like is holding them back or is, you know, frustrating them, it's disappointing, they lost a listing, lost a client, something like that. Yes? Okay. Okay. Whenever you're at a listing appointment or trying to go after a listing and they choose someone else, okay? A lot of people find this very frustrating and they think about it a lot and they let it hold them back. The way you need to think about it is this. When they gave that listing away, there's several great things that happened. Okay, that's why everything is a win-win. You get something positive and you move forward even with your losses. When that client chose a different real estate agent, several things happened. One, you learn something. So you're going to replay what happened in your mind, and you're going to think about everything that was said, what agent they chose, so on and so forth, right? And so you learn something, and so you're now a better agent because of it. But the big part that I like to really concentrate on is the future time I got back, that I don't have to spend on that deal anymore. So now I can take all this new knowledge that I just got from experience, and I can use that to take that new future time that I just got back, that I don't have to waste my time on that deal anymore, and go get 5 more deals. You can turn all of your losses into huge wins. And too many of us are taking losses and letting it hold us back. And so, like another example is, I'm talking about the fears of cold calls and overcoming your fear of cold calls. So let's say someone gets a listing and you're calling around that listing, calling other owners. Most agents will go through the 100 calls, and at the end of the call, probably more than likely didn't sell that listing. A lot of people will look at that situation and say, that didn't work. I didn't get anything out of that. They start doubting themselves and start wondering if that's what they should do. If they should keep doing that, even though they didn't get any results. So what happens is you start doubting and you start backpedaling, and then more losses happen. You lose a listing. Things aren't working the way you thought until you backpedaled yourself out of the business. Okay, so I want to bring up a term that I've been using a lot, that maybe you can take this with you, but it's dual purpose. It's something I kind of came up with that to me means a whole lot, because every action you take should have more than one purpose. When you make those 100 calls around your listing, it's not only to try to sell that listing or get the word out about that listing, it's also to create new relationships with property owners that you're talking to. There's a lot of incredible things that can happen if you think about it more than just one-dimensional. If you have more than one reason for everything you do. Whereas you have a backup plan. If the primary reason doesn't work out, you have a backup plan. And when you have dual purpose with everything you do and everything is a win-win, it turns into a situation where you can fully commit to every action you take. You're not scared that you're wasting time, because if the reason that you did it doesn't work out, you still have these other backup reasons. So, another thing I want you guys to realize is how an amazing time this is. Like, you guys are in the right place at the right time. Who thinks in the right place at the right time? Like, this is an amazing market. And we're with RE/MAX, who's the #1 company in the universe. And their income per agent is staggering, okay? But the market, to me, my opinion, is real estate is the healthiest it's been in a long time. Any way you look at it, interest rates, supply, demand, appreciation, average price, new construction, resale, it all points to a very healthy market. If clients ask me all the time where I think the real estate market's going, I tell them, and by the way, you never tell anybody you know what's going to happen, but I tell them the real estate sector itself has a long way to go, right? There are outside factors, political, stock market, global, that could affect and create a downturn for real estate, but real estate is very healthy. So I said that to say this: I want you guys to realize it and take full advantage of it. Like, squeeze this incredible, great market for every drop that it has. Do not take it for granted. I took it for granted when I first started real estate. I got in when I was 20. By the time I was 23, I was a millionaire. I had Cadillac, Hummer, houses. And then just 2 years later, when I was 25, I lost everything I had. I was broke, bankrupt, sleeping on friends' couches. And the real estate market crashed, and there was a lot of bad decisions, but at the end of the day, it was because I didn't appreciate the market. And I didn't take advantage of it. I had the wrong mindset. And so, long story short, everything I learned through that has got me where I am today. But I'm sure there's a lot of new agents in the room that are probably thinking, but Ricky, the market is not on fire for me. I'm not killing it. It doesn't seem like it's very healthy to me. How many new agents do we have? The first word of advice for you guys is never raise your hand or admit that you're a new agent. Never tell anybody that you're a new agent, no matter what you do. But seriously, what I do want you to know is that closings happen every single day. Every day, closings happen, even in the worst of the market. This chart is a number of transactions in my county from 2006 to 2016. You can see in the worst market, and this is the worst real estate, one of the worst real estate crashes in the history. We still had plenty of transactions. It was down about 50%, okay, but it's still a lot. And another thing that happens, kind of a side note, is all the realtors get out of the business. So now you have half the transactions, but way less than half the agents. It's actually an incredible time. But anyway, closings happen every single day. You can go back, watch your MLS. Everybody knows this. So what I'm saying is when you know closings happen every day and you're still struggling, you're still trying to figure out how to do what to do. The only problem is that closings are happening. You just haven't figured out how to get there. You haven't figured out the learning curve of what actually gets you where you need to be involved in all these closings that are happening. It's not the market's problem that you're not where you want to be. Okay, it's you haven't figured out the formula or what works for you. Okay, so what I want to do right now is kind of go through a little deal where I'm going to show you guys how to reverse engineer yourself into as many closings as you can handle. How's that sound? First thing you need to know is prospects are unlimited. It's completely, there's no way that you can contact, serve, work with all the prospects that are in your market. And to take it a step further, they're actually unlimited for each and every one of you because of your different personalities and what you connect differently with different people. It's amazing when you really think about it. So closings happen every day. Prospects are unlimited. Okay, that's the first step to understanding, where we have, what direction we need to go in. You need thousands of clients yesterday. That's a post I did, but you need to be in the mindset. You need to understand that if you're not having closings and you're not being successful, you don't know if real estate is going to work for you. You're way behind on where you need to be in terms of how many clients you have in your sphere, in your database, so on and so forth. So, we want to take action. I grew up roofing houses. I've been selling real estate for 16 years. I had to get out of real estate when the market crashed, went back to roofing houses. I come from a long line of hardworking people, and that carries into how I do real estate. I think and work real estate differently. Another thing is Facebook and Zillow and all this stuff did not exist when I started real estate. So I never really got on that train. I use Facebook and Instagram and stuff a lot now, and it helps tremendously, but I build my brand there. I'm not there to get leads. So there's in the booklet, I think it's the third question that kind of got mixed up, but what is the common denominator for every closing? I'm going to give you guys like 30 seconds or so. Jot down what you think the common denominator for every closing is. Okay. Let me hear a couple of answers. Okay. Someone had a need and you filled it. A commission check. Relationships. Happy clients. I don't think that's common denominator. Work got completed. Okay. There's a place under all the questions that says Ricky's answered. So if you want to fill that out, it's conversation. Conversation is the common denominator. I don't care where you get your leads from. Online, Facebook, Zillow, for sale by owner, expired, postcards, where you get them from. There has to be a conversation for there to even be a chance of a closing. The conversation manifests into a relationship that produces a closing. Closings come from conversations that are converted into relationships. Okay? This is my philosophy. It's not from conversations that are converted into clients or conversations that are converted into a transaction or a deal or a client or a contract. They come from conversations that get converted into a relationship where you guys find out that there's a good working relationship and that you guys get along. Okay? So the next question, and we're reverse engineering into the closing, okay? We know that closings happen every day. We know that prospects are unlimited. Now we know that conversation is the key to all closings, okay? So now that we know all that, okay, now we need to know who we need to have the conversations with, right, to get where we want to go. So let's reverse engineer that. There's a question there. What makes a high-quality prospect, or what is a characteristic of a high-quality prospect? Because if we want to be the most efficient agent, this real estate's do or die. It's the survival of the fittest. So you have to be the most efficient you can be, because average just doesn't make it. Okay? So take 30 seconds, answer the question, what characteristics qualify a prospect to be the highest quality? Any answers? Referral, high quality prospect. Pre-qualified? Okay. Anybody from the quiet side of the...
They have a need.
They have a need. Any others? What's that? Communication. Now remember, we want to be, what's that? We want to be the most efficient we can be, right? And we're running a business. Okay? So the highest quality prospects to me are prospects in which make you the most amount of money in the least amount of time. Prospects that make you the most amount of money in the least amount of time. And I know that kind of sounds like we're just going after money. But it's not, because we have to work hard and smart. Okay, if we want to make it. So people need help at the lower price ranges. They need help at the higher price ranges. It's not really about a price range thing necessarily either. But does that make sense to you guys? So I'm not going to flip the next one because it has the answer on it, but there's a question on your worksheet. Who are the highest quality prospects? What prospects make you the most amount of money in the least amount of time? Referrals. Ready, willing, and able. Listings. People that already love you. Yeah. The highest quality prospects in every market are property owners who own the type niche property that you want to become a specialist in. It's property owners. Okay? Why are property owners the highest quality prospect in any market? Oh, that's weird. Remember what I'm saying about dual purpose? Property owners can buy or sell, right? So they can do either. They're not just one-dimensional. They're a two-dimensional prospect. Secondly, you don't have to educate them as much as like a first-time home buyer. They're already owners. They already know all the ins and outs of ownership. Property taxes, insurance, utilities, maintenance, upkeep, all that stuff. They don't have to be educated. And you have the opportunity for one of two different kinds of transactions to represent them as a buyer or a seller. This is like, to me, this is by far. These guys, property owners, are the only prospect that I'm going to go after. I mean, let's talk about buyers and sellers real quick. Most of my stuff is listings, but I do a lot of buyers too, and I love buyers. And I'm a single agent. I show all my own properties. I don't have a buyer's agent. I do all the work. But here's the difference. When I focus on property owners, and I'm going after them just to see what I can do to help them, not to see if they want to buy or sell, to see what I can do to help them. What ends up happening is, when I get a buyer, since I don't pay for leads, and I don't get a bunch of buyer leads coming in, and I'm not spinning my wheels trying to help all these internet leads, when I get a buyer, I'm excited, because I don't get very many. And they're very high quality. Property owners, or referrals from property owners, or your sphere of influence, all the different ways you can get buyers except for paying for leads. They're very high quality. I have to be in the most efficient state of business as I possibly can. So I'm excited when I get a buyer, because I only show property maybe, I may show property 2 to 6 times a month, something like that. So we know that closings happen every day. Prospects are unlimited. We know that conversation is the key to all closings. We know that we want to talk to property owners. Okay, so how do we do that? We're going to call them. Cold calling, circle prospecting, and prospecting. Now, a lot of people like to door knock. I've never door knocked, so I can't attest to that. I know a lot of people have success. Real estate is all about figuring out what works for you. Okay? And then once you figure out what works for you, then you crush that. Okay? This is what works for me. And I'm always in my mind trying to figure out how to be more efficient and do more and be better. Okay? It's not like I figured out the formula and that's it. I'm always trying to perfect it. It's like my phone scripts. They've come a long way, and I'm still trying to figure out ways to make it better. So the last question on the worksheet, what are some of your fears of cold calling? Take about 20 seconds and jot down a couple answers for me. Give me some. No reason to call. There's always a reason to call. Always a valid reason. What you got? It takes time. Like, you have to take time to do it. Okay. What else are you going to do? Do you do anything that doesn't take time? I want to know what doesn't take time. Okay. What's that? Okay. Rejection? Guys, it all boils down to, it's like I said, mindset. We're killing ourselves. It's just in your mind, right? You're assuming, yes ma'am. Okay, I thought you're just saying hi. You're assuming what the result's going to be, right? You have all these preconceived thoughts about how the call is going to go, because you don't like to get called by people you don't know. So you're thinking, they're not going to like hearing from me. I hear this all the time. People that I help learn how to cold call, they start out very scared. After they do it for a while, they tell me they're addicted to it. Because people are so nice. Yeah, you'll have some people hang up on you. Who cares? Right? Some people that are mean. But see, the thing is if you don't make the calls, you have zero chance of the business. Right? But if you make the calls, there's a chance. It's all about conversations. So if you know everything I just told you through reverse engineering ourselves, inserting ourselves into a closing, then why not just have as many conversations as you can possibly have with property owners? If you know they're the highest quality prospect, you know conversation is the key, right? Why not just do it? But I made this little thing up a week or two ago. Okay. That's weird font. How do you overcome your fears of cold calling? So I made this up. UPS. Understand, prepare, and serve. Okay? The understand part, I want you to understand that fear is normal. The fear of rejection, all the fears that you have where you're thinking about making the calls, you start to get that feeling in your stomach, you start to get butterflies, shortness of breath, heart rate goes up. It's all normal, completely normal. Even the highest guys that have built their business on cold calling like me, I definitely had it when I first started. And I still have a little of it now, every time I make calls. It never goes away. So you have to embrace it, because it's totally normal. It just is. It doesn't matter how long you've been doing it. The difference is I enjoy it now, because I know where it's going to take me. And so, to everybody's heard this, like to grow and to really go to the next level in life and anything you do, you have to get out of your comfort zone. Right? Everybody's heard that. It's so true. When you feel that feeling, you have to go to it. You have to embrace it. Prepare, role play, and control your breathing. I mean, it's funny, and when I say role play, don't role play for 8 hours and say, I've been working on my scripts. Role play for like 15 minutes with somebody at the most, and then start making your calls. Don't use the role playing as your way out of making calls, and you're working on role playing, right? A lot of people do all kinds of weird stuff. And your breathing. Think about your breathing. Here's the thing about calls. When you feel comfortable, your entire job when encountering these people in person or on the phone is to make them feel comfortable with you. They have to feel comfortable with you. They're not going to deal with you. Okay? So if you feel comfortable, if you're comfortable in that situation, okay, and they see that you're comfortable, they're going to give it right back to you. They're going to start being comfortable with you. That's just how it is. So you have to come to this state of zen where you feel comfortable even though it's uncomfortable, right? And then they start to feel comfortable with you. People do not choose their real estate agent because they're the best or because they can put their property on MLS better or show them. Any agent can put a property on MLS, show them a property. They're picking you because they like you and they feel comfortable with you. Your job is to make people feel comfortable with you, not sell property. The selling property thing just comes. And that kind of goes into this last part. Serve. Okay? We're serving them. Relationships over transactions. Okay? So when you're making the calls, before you make the calls, I want you to think that you can take all the pressure off of you as of that you have to make a deal every call, or that they have to like you every call. That's not the point. The point is you're calling them to see if there's something you can do to help them. When I make calls, I don't ask them if they want to buy or sell. I call them, I kind of chat about the weather or something for a second, and then I go right into, well, I don't want to take up too much of your time today, but a house down the road sold just like yours, and I didn't know if there's anything I could do for you. That's my whole line. It's very laid back, low pressure. I'm not trying to, people are scared to make calls because they feel like they're a telemarketer if they do it. They're trying to pressure people into doing stuff that they don't want to do. That's not what you're doing. You have the wrong idea. That's the mindset thing coming back to hurt you. You're calling them with genuine care to see if there's anything that you can do to help them. As a realtor, it's what you do for a living. So, of course, most people say no. I say, well, look, is there a realtor that you would work with? And if not, one day you're going to want to buy or sell something. I'd love the opportunity to work with you. Would it be all right if we stayed in touch? I love this one. The 3-2-1 method. Anybody ever heard of the 3-2-1 method? Good. It means when something scares you that you know is going to take you to another level or make you successful, you just say to yourself, 3, 2, 1, and do it. It's not a joke, but it is funny. Confidence builds with practice. It's a chicken and egg thing because everybody wants the confidence to make the calls, but you got to make the calls to build the confidence. You got to start somewhere, and everybody has that same fear when you make the calls. So go through it. I mean, the guys at the top, they've went through it, so why shouldn't you have to go through it? What makes you special that you don't have to conquer your fears or do stuff you don't want to do? And to me, if you know that what I'm telling you is going to make you successful, and you still don't do it, you make excuses and you don't do it, this probably sounds harsh, but it's because you're selfish. Because when you know something's going to help you succeed and you don't do it because you don't want to feel a little uncomfortable, that means you're telling everyone around you, your friends, family, coworkers, that you don't really care about them enough to feel a little uncomfortable. Because if you succeed, they succeed. Everybody wants you to succeed. Your family needs to pay the bills. Your coworkers want to see you succeed. Your family want, everybody, you can help people. You can help your mom buy groceries, all kinds of things. You need to understand that feeling uncomfortable is part of success, and you're not special. You have to do it, okay? So, 5,000 call challenge. I made this up because I was talking to an agent a couple months ago, and he's not scared to make calls. He makes calls. He's really good. He sells a lot of properties, but he's not quite there with the lingo yet, and he second guesses himself, and he's not fully confident with everything going on. And I said, man, the only thing between you and being a top producer is 5,000 calls. If you'll just make 5,000 calls and go through the process of learning all the different outcomes of a call, there's only a handful of outcomes of a call. They're busy, they're happy, they're sad, they want to do a deal, they don't, they have a realtor, they don't, they'll give you their email address, they want to say, they'll hang up on you. There's only a handful of scenarios. And after you've made so many calls and you've encountered all these different scenarios, it starts to become second nature of how you handle those scenarios and your demeanor and how relaxed you are with it. I'm very relaxed on the phone. I don't know. I don't like to say the word mastery, but I feel really good when I'm making calls because I just make a lot of stuff happen. But the 5,000 call challenge, anybody who wants to partake in that, I want you to do it. Because when you get from 0 to 5,000, not only are you going to see how many deals and how many future clients you get out of that challenge, but how much confidence you're going to grow, and how much further along you're going to be with your skills of talking to people. Doing this will help you with your in-person interviews. You're also conquering your fears. There's like dual purpose times a million when you do this. I'm going to take questions in just a second. Hey, follow me on everything. Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, and tell me that, hey, I was at the Tech and Touch in Kansas City, I'm doing the 5,000 call challenge, and let me know how it's going and how I can help. This is my second book I wrote, List to Last, How to Survive Every Real Estate Market Crash. I took everything that I learned in the crash that I used to get from there back to where I am, and it's in this book. It's on Amazon. Also, you can network with me on my Facebook group. I'm always there posting stuff, helping, asking questions. Also do my live Q&A from there every week. Also, YouTube, I have a show, The Daily Grind. That's what this gentleman in the back is doing, Blake. Everybody give Blake a big hand. This guy's doing an amazing job because he follows me around and puts everything I do on YouTube. He edits it, puts music and stuff on what he does. So, at the end of the day, guys, the magic of overcoming your fear of cold calls is realizing that you don't have to pressure yourself. Take the pressure off and understand that you're not trying to like telemarket people. You're trying to actually just genuinely help them. And if they are rude to you, it's like, I was just trying to help you. Have a good day. Bye. And go to the next one. It's not a big deal. Right? And most people, if somebody hangs up or is rude, they quit. They shut it down. They're not talking to anybody else. When that next call could have been the big one. Like I said before too, if you guys make the calls, there's a big chance you're going to do business. If you don't, there's a zero chance. So give yourself a chance to succeed. And what I wanted to do, if anybody has any questions, I would like to do a little Q&A before I go. Get on a plane.
Hold on just a second, would you? If you have a question, try to make it fairly quick because it's got to be repeated for everybody.
Yeah. So let's say I've got a free day next week and I'm excited to make 5,000 calls. I've got unlimited minutes. How do I get, I don't even have 5,000 Facebook friends. So where do I get those numbers?
RedX. Does anybody know what RedX is? RedX is a dialing system, but it also finds phone numbers. And there's a feature called GeoLeads. You get RedX, you buy the GeoLeads feature, very cheap. You put an address in the GeoLeads bar, and then it'll ask you if you want 50, 100, 200, or 300 people, owners around that address. So you just pick out how much you want. 300 is the max you can get at any given time, and then you hit a button, and then boom, all the numbers pick up, and then boom, you hit another button, it starts calling. It does give you addresses, and I've experienced all of the places to get phone numbers and all that stuff, and this is the best one. It finds the highest quality phone numbers. When you find phone numbers online, they're low quality, but this is the best. Thank you.
How do you handle it when they say they're on the no-call list or they're going to turn you in?
Never heard that before. Don't worry about it.
I've heard it several times.
Just don't call them anymore. Did you get in trouble?
No.
Don't worry about it. Do not call, do not call.
Hang on.
What if you live in an area, there's a group of us here, that you can't have Red X? It doesn't work.
Use white pages.
Pardon?
Use whitepages.com or something. Google how to find phone numbers. Use Google and say how to find phone numbers, and there'd be, I don't know how many. There is another dialing system that'll find them, but it's not as high quality numbers. It's called Mojo Sales. Mojo Sales, and it dials the numbers too.
Ricky, what scripts are you using?
The one I recited up here
Just
for you.
that?
That's it. Even if I'm calling around a listing, trying to get them to buy my listing or something.
Do you have, the reason I'm asking is Keller Williams is in our market and they have a hold. They all use Red X and they're all calling with the same scripts.
They're not you.
Okay.
You have a different personality than all the other agents calling those people. They haven't talked to you yet.
Try different.
Don't worry about the market being saturated, guys.
Some results.
Look at all the people in here. All right? Like, don't worry about saturation. Saturation's good for you.
Here you go.
I'm in a second home market.
A question about texting. Have you ever done any experimentation with that?
No, ma'am. Conversation is the key to all closings.
What about texting to get to a conversation? That's been very effective for me.
If it works for you, I want you to start crushing that. Period.
Cool.
It's all about what works for you. Somebody had a question.
Where we're at. Somebody up here? Nobody?
Oh, here.
Of course.
Well, somebody said something over there.
Where at? Okay.
Do you ever do the system where it goes directly to the voicemail, or do you prefer to actually talk to a human when you call?
You mean like the slide dial or
Yeah,
go straight to the
slide
voicemail?
dial.
I've used that a little, I'm not a big fan. You need to talk to people. That saves time because you can hit so many in so little time, but it's better to take that time and actually talk to some people. But a lot of people, when they do the slide dial, they'll call you back and then you'll get in the conversation. So I have mixed feelings, but if you do it and you like it, do it.
Hey, what do you think is the best time to contact people? Like, in your experience?
Whenever you get ready.
Um,
I never pre-qualify though, that's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to be rude, but I never pre-qualify if I think they're at lunch or just getting home from work or Saturday. I never do it. I always call Monday through Friday, 9 to 12. People do have a lot of success with calling on Saturdays and after 5 and stuff. I just never got into that because I feel like I'm making an excuse not to make calls.
Okay, I have a question. When they're not answering, when they have a voicemail, what message do you leave?
I just say it's Ricky Carruth, Remax Orange Beach. Give me a call back when you get a chance.
And what percentage of people usually call you back?
None.
So how many times do you reach out?
Once.
And then if they don't call you back, you just say next?
Bye.
Okay.
Guys, at some point, it has to be about quantity. It can't always be about trying to drive home this one client. Okay? You can do that and give great service and stuff, but at some point you have to say everything's not going to be perfect, and I need quantity to get to the mountain, to the top of the mountain. Anybody else? It's a quiet, silent room over there. Yeah,
One more right here.
one more.
I just forgot. The pressure got to me.
That's funny.
Actually, this guy had one. Good job. Yeah, he he asked me if I do for sale by owners and expireds, and I absolutely don't. I use RedX, and I call random property owners that own the type of property I want to sell. Period. For sale by owners and expireds are okay, right? They were on the market, something went wrong, they didn't sell it, you know. A lot of times, like with the bold thing you were talking, they're drilling. And the for sale by owners. A lot of competition there. I like saturation, but you know, when I get in those situations, even if I know I'm the best agent that's interviewing for the job, I'm still probably a 50-50 shot because they're talking to 2 or 3 or 4 agents. And even though I know I'm the best, they're probably looking at, you know, I don't like those odds. I like to do what I'm doing, create long-term relationships forever, right? Where I send a weekly email every single week and they call me. They're not interviewing other agents. They don't care what I charge, what my commission is. Thank you, guys. Hey, guys,